Welcome, welcome. This is episode 15. You know, these fellas, they've been off on assignment. What that assignment is, I have no idea. You can ask them, they're here. So bug them. Anyway, that's Mike, that's Jason, and I am Clem Boogie. Together, we are the trifecta of this podcasting thing. So we're going to make it do what it do. So sit back, relax, listen, chime in, comment, do all that good stuff. We want you to be fully engaged in this topic that we're about to share with you tonight. So before we get started and jump into the topic, please like, share, subscribe. It's only important, helps us out with the algorithm, and you will and enjoy what we have to say. Tonight marks episode 15. This is a very, very serious topic. I think a lot of people on all fronts will serve some utility from it. It's something you discuss with your guys, with your girlfriends. If you are in respective relationships, however you may see fit, you'll be discussing it. These are all tangible things, problems, possible resolutions, discussions. We all have them. So with that being said, and for the sake of me not taking the air out of the room, Mike, you are the quarterback. Go.
Most people who are on social media or tuned in to anything within this past week and a half have seen the Sierra Russell Wilson pictures and different things in regards to that, and that's what today's topic was about. I shared my thoughts on it on social media, which I didn't agree with it, and there was some that did, some that didn't. Some tried to make it a black versus another race type situation and stuff like that. And actuality, it's not, because some people DM'd me and sent me pictures of Beyonce or the other women who wore those particular outfits and stuff like that. And again, my overall thing with this was that, one, you're married. One, you're married. That it should be only for your husband to see. Two, you have kids that are active in social media and check social media, so maybe they don't need to see the things. And just knowing how people are. So I get this part, which most people will say is, well, so what? We don't care about what other people say, and we're not worried about this, that, and the third. But again, you also got to think about your kids. You got to think about the other people that it may be affecting outside of yourself, being cool with the backlash that comes with it. You know what I mean? Like that. It's kind of difficult. You know what I mean? Kid go to school, they might have your moms as their screensaver because of that particular picture. You know what I'm saying? That could start a whole whatever. So again, like I said, I just felt like the outfit, even though some people was like, oh, that was the theme. And I was like, I get that as well. But there were plenty of people who wore other stuff, right, instead of the sheer see-through stuff and whatnot. And again, people was talking about, Russell Wilson and he this. I don't know. I don't know if he supported it. I don't know if he did. All I said was the type of guy that I've seen him to be, I wouldn't think that he would enjoy that. But the type of guy that he also seems to be is that he's supportive of his lady, so he's gonna not too happy about it, but this is what you want to do. I guess, like you said, for your entertainment, or, as far as you being an entertainer, it makes it a little different or whatever. Again, I feel like that was an outfit for, like I said, we on the beach somewhere, a little private location. If a pic bust out like that, you get it, because like, okay, they overdoing their thing. But for red carpet, situation like that, I don't know. I didn't agree with it. Like I said, that was just on a man, woman. And even with, oh, she able to do it. Even if you are able to do something, doesn't always make it the right thing to do just because you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, but just think about it. Like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. You know what I mean? Especially as men, we definitely know it's situations that you could be in and you be like, nah, I'm not just going to do that, even though it could be cool, but I'm not going to do it because of my relationship or my marriage to whoever you're involved with.
All right. So Jay, before you go, I'm actually going to be devil's advocate. and it's more so directed to you. And I know you on this level, so I feel comfortable bringing it up, and I know your personality and how you might answer this, but you will surprise me from time to time. Um, you are our marriage specialist. You are married. That's the only reason why I say you're the specialist. You're married. So insert yourself into that whole scenery, that whole, genre of things that were going on that particular weekend. I believe it was for Vanity Fair or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Uh, your wife putting on that outfit and you walking down arm in arm and the plethora of cameras, but to also receive the backlash, such as what Mike said, and now the tension that's being caused. So, like I said, insert yourself in that and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, so the way we operate,
Mm.
my wife has never put on an outfit that wasn't really kind of ran by me.
Okay.
So, she's always like, how do I look? What do you think? This, that, and the third. And then there's an approval process. And the same with me. I'll put on something if we going out somewhere, and if it ain't, if it ain't fitting us both, we ain't doing it. And on a personal level, we don't do that. I'm not going for it. But I want to be clear that I'm a firm believer in individualism. And I believe that only two people, if it works for them, it works for them. And I'm cool with it. I have none against it. And in their instance, see, I don't know that couple
Mhm.
only because I make it a heavy rule that celebrity relationships can't be in my home.
Mhm.
I don't want my kids to ever care. I don't want them to ever care about Jay-Z and Beyonce, about Donald Trump and Melania Trump. I don't want them to care about none of that because none
Right.
of that is important. And that should never base how they're going to choose their people, right? I want them to learn individualism. However, I think this one is different because I feel like we saw Ciara naked almost already, like 45 times in her career. So I didn't really like, for me, it was no big buzz because it was like, all right, you going back to that again. All right, whatever. I just tried to say in my head that had to be something that they both, it wasn't like she popped out the limo, he popped out a separate limo. He was like, whoa. I think he gave the nod of
Right.
approval. I don't know though.
Right.
It's hard for me because we I intentionally don't have celebrity couples on my TV. Like I really try hard because I don't want my kids to be influenced by them. I
Mhm.
want them to learn love from home. I don't want them to ever be like, oh, that's goals. And you don't really know them. Like
Right.
goals is what you should already feel and experience in real life and try to enhance that. I would not allow, I wouldn't go for it. I would give an opinion that we're not going out with, see-through outfits and all that. I don't really, even if we weren't married, I wouldn't go for that. I'm not
Mhm.
standing
Right.
outside. Yeah, I'm with Mike on that part. I'm not
Mhm.
standing out. Even if we just dating, I'm not hanging out and you naked and you just got nets on or whatever. I don't remember the outfit. I know it was definitely see through, but I
Mhm.
don't know if it was like netted. It was something, and
It,
we,
it
we
was
ain't
it
doing it.
was like a basketball net from top to
Yeah,
bottom.
that's how it looked like to me, like a net. Yeah, and yeah, I'm not.
Man, look, telling everybody, shoot your shot.
And and don't get me wrong, because there is a lot of people, and I saw a lot of things that Mike is talking about people online. Oh, that's her business and all this other shenanigans that people are saying on all type of social media platforms, and I get that. But when you're in a union, you represent the union,
Mhm.
and it's different. When you're paired up with somebody and you're both going to be in public
Right.
and you're both going to be now. If it's one of those things where she's like, "Yo, look, I'm wearing these. I'm going out with the girls," and if he's cool with that, that's on him. Like I said, in my home, no one's wearing see-through. We don't do that.
Right.
That's just a private thing. We're home alone. That's
Mhm.
another story. But we ain't doing that in public. But I don't know how this dude moves.
Mhm.
It's hard because you know
Yeah.
it's hard for me to say what's right for him.
Uh-huh.
I know definitively 100% there's no not even an iota of a doubt,
Mhm.
we ain't doing that in this home.
Right.
We
No,
ain't doing that in this home.
no. I respect it, and like you guys are correct, and I'm also going to tag on. Um, I think like now more so than ever, like we're surrounded by people, whether it be media, social media, or just the average person that looks like everyone has an opinion, right? And you walking with your wife, for me, girlfriend, Mike, you know what Mike does, he's all over the place, but no one wants to see that because, like, in some essence it represents the both of you, not only her, it represents both of you. And it's something where, like, it's not appropriate, whether because now you're going to hear outlets talking about how much like it was a theme party or whatever the case may be. But when they showed the overall picture, I think, Mike, you had sent it or you had posted it, she was the only one dressed like that, so I don't know how much of a theme it was.
Or because this is what I also thought
Hmm.
was, what if this was intentional for the buzz and attention, and hopefully there's a plan how they can find a way to take this attention and benefit. Now I don't know that if that's what their plan is, but I've seen this happen
Hmm.
in many
Yeah.
instances where people put themselves out there for
Right.
the buzz, and it
Right.
worked for them. Next thing you know, they're
Yeah.
popping it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's what it is. Maybe we got a Sierra album coming out in 90 days. I don't
Yeah.
know. But it could be. Mike, we've seen it. We all,
Yeah,
Clint, come on,
definitely,
we all
definitely.
seen it.
Yeah.
So
No.
I don't
So
know if maybe this is where we're going, and
Hmm.
this was the test market on one of those high stages, and it was like, you know what? Let's test market this value, and I'm gonna show what I got, and then I'm gonna drop this album, and let's see what happens. It could be. So I
No.
don't know.
No,
You know,
I'm not knocking that idea. You're right, because like if you really want to be cynical about it, when it's like one of our favorite rappers, what do? They go out and get shot or they go get arrested. So that's how they
or
promote
start
their
mad
albums.
drama.
Correct.
Listen,
But
50 Cent was the master of, I'm about to drop an album, let me disrespect another dude.
you're right.
And it
Like,
worked. I mean, it was
yeah,
gold.
his whole campaign was just being sheer petty, and
Yeah, and it
he's
worked.
great at it.
Yeah,
So
the attention was unparalleled. It
correct.
was unmatched.
Yeah.
hey, like I said, 50 my guy. And again, it's him. Like I said, it ain't even like it's a play. Like
Mhm.
that's what he does. Like
Oh,
like
yeah.
I
But
said,
it's
they just
perfect. The
don't
timing was always there.
look, they just showed something recently that somebody did something to him and he got him back and brought the house, and now they out of the house and all that. Like just recently somebody was getting over on some bread. He won the lawsuit and went back and brought the people house and kicked them out and all that. Like
Mhm.
and just using it for some type of craziness or whatever. But
I
with
love it.
Mhm.
with them, right? And again, what I was trying to say, with other people that was kind of going, wanted to go back and forth with me again,
Mhm.
it wasn't it's about them because they did it. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Mhm.
did it. But it's just the overall of husband wife.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For me, it was just the overall of husband wife, family structure. So what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so what if you, because like I said, the same way they had John Morant in the strip club, if they'd have
Mhm.
had Russell Wilson like that in the strip club, people would have been going crazy off of that to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? And it's just certain things as you deal with somebody and it's your family and your relationship that you just don't do as an entertainer, as whatever it is. And like they said, people sent me stuff of Beyonce and all that stuff like that. Of course, I told them the same thing. Oh, I didn't see this. I'm just seeing this now. So even with that, I don't agree upon it. But what I also told them, because they was like, oh, what about Tiana Taylor and this, that, and the third? I said, here's the thing, right? Still don't agree upon it for what they're doing. But
Right.
those two mess with people who are a little bit more open to that than I feel like Russ is. You
Mhm.
feel what I'm saying? Like Jay might like, is little street show. I get it, him being Amon Shumpert. You feel what I'm
Mhm.
saying? He's into Russ. I don't see him as being someone that's into having his lady, the mother of his kids, out there like that. Because, like I said, even throughout the time that they've been together, she hasn't done anything towards that type of stuff, as far as I know.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They've been together for I don't know how many years. They got a couple kids. I haven't seen anything that was like risque like that until now. And then she just had the song a little while ago and whatnot, talking about how single ladies should be this and that and all this other stuff like that.
Mhm.
So again, like I said, could be an album push, whatever it was, but I just feel like it could have been done differently. It should have been done differently in regards to them and him. Because like I said, even if you cool with it and he's saying he cool with it, but you, like you said, you married. We've been in relationships. Yo, you be like, you cool with it, but you know they not cool with it. You like, all right, I still might do something, but let me tone it down. You know what I mean? Like, let me do it differently. You know what I mean? Like, it's different though, bro. So again, like I said, for me, it was all about the marriage situation, having kids and things like that, and just being mindful of the other person.
Do you
Let it
think
be so.
do you think it would have been different if it was Future in place of Russell Wilson?
No, because if it was Future, people would have looked at it like, we expect that.
No, I'm just saying that because in reference you had said that Jay is because
and that's what I'm saying. Like with certain people who are a little bit more into that, you look at it like, I get it. But like I said, for him, I don't know him as that type of person to be into that as far as that type of public display. So I feel like him just being a supportive guy that he is. All right. You know what I'm saying? She's telling him it's part of the theme, but you know that he doesn't really feel that. And like I said, I don't want to be the person stirring the pot. But again, outside of our podcast, it's plenty of other people saying the same thing in other avenues. And there's also other people saying, well, she should this and she should that and all that. And like I said, again, it doesn't make it right. So, we tapped on that. And this is the perfect way to segue into the next little portion of things. Like I said, the Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, not one his daughter on TikTok and things of that nature and so on and so forth. But you see what she did anyway.
Yep.
So have y'all seen it?
I did. Kanye made a big disclaimer even before he went dark due to his own personal stuff and obviously like things we have talked about 10 times over and the public has talked about 10 times over. I think, pretty much the subject title encompasses what, everything that we see as far as in relationship do's and don'ts. When it comes to the Kardashians and, whoever they're associated with or attached with, it comes with, I feel like it's a set of parameters because like that family, I don't know, they do things differently. I know the mom is like she's like a puppet master in some ways. The guys that like seem to get tied in, whether it's Kanye, Lamar, even Scott Disick, now Travis Barker, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Like it's a trend, right? It doesn't seem to be a steady ship. Even now, I think one of the younger ones, one of the Jenners, I believe is Kylie, dealing with Bad Bunny, and now Bad Bunny feels compelled to make a diss song or verse about Devin Booker, and it just like back and forth. So like, I guess in terms of do's and don'ts, let's start with the do's. What do you see as like something that has to be like for you that like, we're men, we command respect and, all that across the board. What is something that passes as a positive for you when it comes to your partner, whether in a marriage or whether you're, in a relationship of any sort? I think it's just hard to, give distinct guidelines because now there's no clear cut playing field. I think everyone kind of does something until you're like, that doesn't work for me. And then it either leads to a discussion or an argument. So, Jay, tap in on that.
Yeah. So one thing that I used to preach was learn your partner. And what that means is your next is not your ex. So you can't go in there catering in the same exact manner and expect the same exact response. Because what makes one boat float might sink the other.
Right.
So learn your partner first and communicate, because you might come across a freak, and you might be very reserved, and there's going to be a lot of things that may not, a lot of differences. So you got to learn your partner before you commit. I tell people that I have a very different flow when it comes to stuff. If you're dating and you have not communicated exclusivity,
Hmm.
then communicate that it's not exclusivity, right? You
Right.
want to make sure that whether you do or don't, you communicate that. And you let them know that for me, this is just a learning process. I need to learn who you are before, because you can't commit to someone you don't know. That's unrealistic. And we want that. And we expect it. Like, once you start dealing with someone, you should only deal with me. And a lot of times that's just wasted time and effort. And then you start forcing yourself to mold into who you think this person wants you to be, instead of just simply taking the time to learn your partner. And
Hmm.
once you learn your partner, you ask your partner questions that are very relevant. Like, what do
Hmm.
you find disrespectful in a
Hmm.
relationship? How do you expect me to be? Not because not every dude is going to have the same exact guideline. Some dudes is going to be a little more loose. Some dudes is going to be a little tighter. Some dudes is
Hmm.
going to be a little more shorter on the leash. But you won't know unless you start asking. And people are
Right.
afraid to ask the basic questions. Like, a lot of the basic questions that would eliminate a lot, like you said, Clem, they turn into arguments. A lot of that would be just simply like, yo, how do you expect me to move?
Hmm.
You can't just assume that because she's a female and he's a male, that it's the exact same guideline all across the board, when it isn't.
Hmm.
So one dude, she might have just came. Like, I'm gonna use, of course, I like to use a female because I'm a guy and I'm not attracted to guys.
Hmm.
A female might have just came from a relationship where the dude was real relaxed, and it
Hmm.
became habitual. And maybe now she moves a little more relaxed, and the
Right.
dude she's getting with, he's a little more tight leashed on it,
Hmm.
but she's a little accustomed to that. It may not be who she is, it's just who the last dude wanted her to be.
Hmm.
But if you don't communicate that, you're going to hit a wall,
Yeah.
and all you're going to have is problems. You can't treat your next the way you treated your ex. You
Right.
got to learn your partner. You got to communicate effectively. Just because, I'm a man or I'm male, both, that doesn't mean that I have the same blueprint everybody else does.
Right.
Respect, respect, there's a common ground for respect. And then from there, it goes up and it goes down,
Hmm.
depending on the relationship goes with the people you engage with through the journey of life.
Hmm.
But that doesn't make it equal across the board. So, learn your partner. That's the best way to eliminate mad dramas. Don't assume that all of us are on the same wavelength.
Hmm.
A
Real,
lot of
real.
us, we a lot different. We rock different ways, and you got to be able to communicate effectively, and stop fearing questions. Like, people just, they won't ask those questions. Like, ask your partner, how do you want me to move?
Hmm.
Like, people are so afraid because we in this world where everybody feels like if they do that, they're giving up power.
Right.
Nah, you represent the union.
Right.
You're not giving up power. If anything, you empower the union when you respect it enough to ask those questions. Your union becomes stronger. All that, I'm doing me and this is me and all that other nonsense. Nah, once you're in a union, this is us. So how do you expect me to move for us?
Right.
And that's how it should be.
Mike.
Well, that's a good thing to segue off, because I say that a lot in dealing with females and stuff like that. As far as, I tell everybody, like, you got to change for the person that you're dealing with. Oh no, I'm not changing for nobody. This, that, and the third. Like, then I feel like it's never gonna work. Like, you
Hmm.
have to make adjustments to who you are in accordance to be able to be in a structured relationship with somebody, a consistent relationship with somebody. You have to change your ways. You may go to, you may do stuff at a certain time, but if you're dealing with something, especially if y'all living together, you definitely got to change. You feel what I'm saying? You live in separate. You can kind of do things a certain type of way, but the structure of your day changes. And again, it's a, for me, like I said, it's just like everything else, is a wisdom thing. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't been in certain situations, then you're not going to be able to understand them. moving forward and be able to make certain adjustments to it. Sometimes you do got to fuck up in order to know what's next for the next situation. And as you said, with comparing to an ex or whatever it is, a lot of times that happens. And like I said, I can't speak for, whoever else, but that happens with women. Women are always in that scenario of saying what someone else did in a particular situation. And again, just like I said, I'm very upfront, then you should still be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm that guy. Like, then you should still be there. Don't talk to me about what happened before or from the past and so on and so forth. Because if that was the case, you would still be there. You're here for a reason, so on and so forth. Now let's try and make it work. And like I said, I'm so very direct into that, where some females feel some type of way because they be like, well, I know that you might not like this, but you're doing it because of me. And I'd be like, you should be happy that I'm doing this because of you. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not in the beginning, it's not going to be my thing, but as time goes, I'll get into it. But I will always so I always tell people, like, yo, you got to change in order to be with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of shit, like, it's like I said, especially, that'd be the next thing. Tell people, you don't know nobody till you live with them. You got to be in a 5-year relationship, hunky-dory, living in 2 separate places. But once you live together, that's when it gets real. The next is when you have kids with somebody. That's when that's when you find a whole different side of people and know. And I've been through both, to live with people and have kids where it's with, either way. And again, I don't know if I sent y'all this because it was another podcast that my friend sent me, and I don't know if I sent it to y'all in the group or whatever. But like I said, listening to that, like I said, what the dude said that made so much sense is that so many people are self-diagnosed, and they're self-diagnosing themselves with the wrong, and they're trying to heal that. You know what I'm saying? And then another point that he said, and again, it's just like what we're saying. It don't mean that it is a fact, but it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are choosing their path to in hurt. Everybody's always, it's hurt. This is when the healing becomes, they're never healing in a good space. They're never making adjustments in a good space. It's always in a negative mind state. So how clear are your thoughts then? Like I said, when you're angry and whatever it is, you go home and get a good sleep in. You ain't angry when you wake up, no matter what it is that was going on. So like I said, maybe it wasn't that scenario. Maybe you were just tired. You know what I'm saying? So like when I was listening to it, and I didn't get to finish it yet because I had a lot of stuff going on. But like I said, it was like I love stuff like that, and that's why I said I hope people get that from listening to us and whatnot. Just understanding the other sides of things and the way people think, and being able to be open to it. But the reality of it for me in relationships, if you're not willing to change for that person, it's not gonna work. Like you really have to change, whatever it may be. You don't like this, but at the same time, your person also should know, like, they're not pushing you through something that you don't like. But there's always going to be certain things that you don't like. And again, like you said, learning your person, knowing, hey, he might have a tight face on, or she might, be this, that, and the third, but she's doing it, or he's doing it. You know what I'm saying? It'll be over tomorrow. So again, like I said, with the learn your person, yes, but man, like, you got to, like I said, again, you got to continuously learn that person, especially if you play. And that's what, like, I feel like a lot of females don't understand when I talk to them or whatever, because I'd be like, yo, like, I'm choosing for forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already in that spot, so you good, Jay. But like y'all got to really think about this. Like, so girls be like, oh, why you so picky? I'd be like, yeah, because this is for, like, I'm supposed to be choosing for forever. Like, I ain't choosing for this month. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something I got to be like, yo. And like I told people now, some females now, I'd be like, yo, like, it's going to take a little while for us to really lock in like that. I tell them, like, I need to see you in all seasons. You know what I'm saying? Which people, I've been involved with females that, like I said, life just created a barrier or a separation between us. You know what I'm saying? Like, they started going through something at a certain part of time. Not to say this, you know, some people may have lost their parent.
Mhm.
And this particular time of the year, they just black out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't connect to nobody, you know, or the holidays and this, that, and the third, and so on and so forth. And me being who I am, I've lost people, but not as major as, you know, as a parent, anything like that. God, you know, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes I can't connect.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And not even in that aspect, but just in other aspects where sometimes, like, some people just at certain points of time, they get so down that it's like, you know, for me, like every year, and not saying a parent, but just like for anything, it could be tax time where they
Mhm.
just used to getting a certain amount of tax money and now they're not getting it and they just mopey, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so again, that's what I try to tell people is that, you know, right now I'm into it because, you know, I say this, man, 3 months, usually people are saying they're in a relationship if you've been rocking with somebody heavy.
Mhm.
If you talking to somebody consistently, y'all knocking each other down and stuff like that and whatnot, hanging out, and it's kind of consistent, it automatically kind of blends into that automatically. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? In most cases. So again, I'd be like, yeah, but you don't know nobody. You know what I'm saying? Some of my
Mhm.
past relationships that I've been in, it happened in those same parameters and stuff like that. And people like, oh, y'all looked so good in the beginning or this. Like, yeah, but as we got to know each other and stuff like that, we seen it wasn't really what it was for the long term. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So again, that's just like the Russell Wilson and going back to that as well. Like for her, maybe she put on a, you know, hopefully everything is fine. Let me just
Mhm.
say that first and foremost. Hopefully
Right.
everything is fine. But
Mhm.
like I said, playing both sides. Maybe, like I said, some people maybe put on the front. Maybe I can't be this, you know, this goody two shoes lady like I've been for these last couple of years. I want to wow out a little bit,
Right.
you know. And even on his behalf, maybe I deal with it for a little bit because, like I said, I'm looking at it for the long haul, and that's what I feel like a lot of in relationships we don't have.
Right.
Is that like to be able to go through situations, deal with them, and move forward. Now, cheating, things of that nature, that's a tough one. I can't speak on that. Like I said, I don't cheat. I've never been in situations where I had to cheat as far as being in poly relationships or in monogamous relationships because when I decided to, that was the thing. When it take a lot for me to fuck with somebody. So when I do it, I'm locked into you. It ain't like
Mhm.
I'm doing this and it's like I still need to be doing that and doing this. Now I'm good right here, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 5. Who, you know,
Mhm.
having a cookie may crumble. But that's the thing that I see now is that because, like they said, someone else said that also, the ability to swipe. You
Mhm.
can start a relationship in 2 minutes now.
Right.
You can get to know somebody, meet new people over and over and over. So that ability to, hey, I could do this tomorrow or that tomorrow or whatever it is, like that's the one thing I've learned as well too lately. Like always had options, but options is not always a beautiful thing because it puts people in limbo to not utilize whatever. So, you know, because I feel like I could do this. That's the
Mhm.
same way I feel like with these kids in school and stuff like that. Oh, well, I ain't got to do this because I could do this. Oh, anyway, but like I said, you're not focusing on nothing though. Like when they said, and it goes both ways. Uh, master of all. What is the saying?
Oh,
Like
master of all, but what is it?
something
Jack
of
of
all,
all
but
trades,
master.
master
Jack
of
of
none.
all, master of none.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. So, like I said, that works both ways too. Because it's like, hey, that's great to have all of that, but at the same time, you're not locked into certain things. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So, it goes for me. It just goes both ways. With that, is if I'm involved with somebody, I'm willing to make whatever changes is necessary for us to
Mhm.
survive and for our relationship to thrive. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been in situations where it really wasn't what I wanted to do, but I knew the overall of what it was. From it could be
Right.
just, hey, we're doing this every week, or whatever it is. Hey, let's do it. But
Right.
then it got to be given on the same way as well too. But yeah, you got to change for the person. If you don't, like I said,
Okay, so the next part of that, they said dominant, submissive. Like two dominant people can't deal with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, if you have a dominant and submissive, then you might not have to worry about the change then because you're the dominant. You know what I'm saying? But still, you're going to have to deal with change. It no matter what. That's just human nature. Somebody's going to, question whatever you got going on or whatever path you got them on at some point in time. But dominant, submissive, if that's the roles they plan, then them people go along with it. But again, man, change has to happen. If not, then you're going to be by yourself.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. I think operative words are compromise, understanding, critical thinking, learning, and also comprehension. I list all those words and terms because these are things that will help the relationship go and survive. I think a lot of people, especially this day and age, the minute adversity hits, someone's looking for the door to walk out. There's a lot of influences, whether it be within family or outside influence, that play a part in a lot of relationships.
Yep.
It's very, very easy to tell now if someone's unhappy because they let it all out, or you can see it. You know what I mean? Even with us, we're no choir boys. Like if we're unhappy about something, what is our first tendency? We get up, we take our eyes and go outside. What happens outside? If we didn't want someone to know, trust me, they wouldn't know. I think women sometimes get caught up in that, they think they know everything. No, you don't. And I'm not saying it to be like condescending in any way, shape, or form, but like we have our ways to clear our head. And then it's not necessarily like cheating or anything like that. But if we wanted to blow off steam, we can do that. It's a fine line because now, even when you're talking to, even for me, when I'm talking to my girl, we get into bouts, nothing physical or anything like that, but we get into situations where like, she's so passionate about what she's saying. And then I know how I am and how I receive it. Like sometimes I might not like her tone and it will force me to react a certain way. And me reacting a certain way, it makes her uncomfortable. So if she's uncomfortable and I'm already uncomfortable, all right, we just gotta, just go to our separate corners. But for some people, that's like the death sentence to their relationship, whatever that relationship is. They can't stand that because everyone, like a lot of people have this idealistic view of what their relationship is. Oh, the relationship, it shouldn't be hard. Oh, it shouldn't be doing this. Why are you going out with this person? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? If that's going to be like a continuing thing, Jay, you alluded to it earlier. Talk about it. I think you making certain demands, if you want to call it that, or bringing up certain conversations, I don't think it should be a problem. I think a lot of people feel like if you bring something to the table, you're like belittling them. You're trying to change them. You're trying to like, almost make them like your subject. It's not. The person cares about you. Listen, if my girl goes out and doesn't come back until, the wee hours of the night, that's going to raise a level of concern. Like I know nothing's going to happen to her, but it's still going to be a level of concern, and vice versa. But it has to be equal. Like it can't be taken like, oh, if I do it, then there's a level of suspicion. And when you do it, I'm not allowed to ask you what you're doing. Because then, like, what are we doing here? Like
Right.
everyone has to be held accountable. But don't you notice anytime accountability is raised, like it's easy for someone to hold someone else accountable. But when the accountability is running in reverse, it's taken as an attack.
Yep.
And, when you look at it, and not to say that I hate the whole shtick of like relationship is 50-50. It's not. There's some days where she got 80 and I only got 20.
Right.
There's some days she only got 40 and I got the 60. Maximum effort comes from both of us combined. It makes it power. Like everybody throws around power couple, this, that, or whatever the case may be. Math only works realistically if you put in the effort. And that goes for both sides of the fence, both man and woman. I think a lot of it, like I said, now more so than anything, people feel like whatever happened in their past, the person currently is being held accountable.
It has to make up for that.
Correct. And it makes it
This
very
is what
hard.
I didn't get. You got to give me what I didn't get from before.
Right. But like it becomes a damaging effect because, you're literally just saying that person's not good enough. Or like, women have this thing they run wild with, love languages, right? They love to throw that around. Every female you talk to, that's their pillar. They got love languages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we get it. The way to a man's heart and to let him know you understand, for all you women out there that are listening and watching us, all we ask is for respect. You respect us, we are going to do anything and everything for you. And that's real rap. I'm not going to say it's not that hard because I know some of us are difficult. I know I'm not easy to deal with. Like I'm cool and calm here. Like my friends see me, I'm always cool. But women in my life, including my mom, they know that button to press and it will just make me hot. But yeah, but all of us are like that. I think I would like to think all of us are like that. Like we have that, that in us where anything could set you off. And, it's just hard because you care about someone, especially like you got to account for them. It's not that you own them, but you have to account for them. Something happens. You think I want to sit there and explain to someone what happened to you and I couldn't prevent it or I couldn't have done something? Yeah. And I think sometimes, when it's pushed out that way, like, oh, you tripping or no, I'm a grown ass woman and this and that. No one's saying that. I'm not questioning that. But from the optic standpoint, understand I'm a man. My thing is to protect you. That doesn't get lost. But yeah. It's good.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Yeah, it gets lost a lot of times. But like I said, like those buzzwords that I had thrown out earlier, as far as being able to comprehend, I think it's far easy. Everybody loves to talk about communicate. No one's communicating. There's no communication. There's no flow. There's no traffic in communication if no one's comprehending it. At that point, you're just talking in circles. I mean, I'm sure everybody has done that. Yep. So it's not like a far-fetched thing. And I think that's a lot of the problem. I'm not going to sit here and like make light of it. It is a fundamental part of the problem because as much as people say they want to be heard, it's more so how you're saying it, how the person's going to receive it. And, like let's not be far-fetched. Like you can talk about it, but you also have to compromise because also there has to be an effort push from your side too. Just because you're like bringing it to the table, you're pushing chips to the table doesn't mean you don't put that, that extra push behind it. Because I'll tell you what, you sit there and you're, oh, Clem, you're not doing this. I'll be like, okay. And me saying, okay, I know will get a woman upset all the time. My girl will just look at me and be like, she knows instantly I'm not going to do it because maybe it's the approach. And not to say that you need to like handhold me or like give me a treat or anything like that. I'm not a freaking dog, but I think it's approach, and it goes vice versa. I think I'm abrupt sometimes because she may be doing something, or I might roll my eyes because she didn't do something. It's a two-way street, but it happens. We're human, and I don't think like someone should be held accountable any more or any less. Go ahead, Mike.
So, like you said, the okay, that's me as well too, and the okay might not be because you wanted it, and that's what I talk. Like I said, funny that you bring your mom, bring up my moms and other people and stuff like that. Is that certain people want you to love them or show them a response or affection or whatever it may be, the way they feel it should be done instead of accepting it for what it is from the person that's giving it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? My okay, just like I said, my okay, like it sounds like I don't like the shit, but I'm gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like, but I ain't going right now. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is you're saying, like that's like, but I'm watching Bar Rescue or whatever it is or something like that. Like, I'll get to it, my bad. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I say again with, like I said, the 50-50. So I used to be one that talked about that. But again, it was never in the aspects of 50-50. Like I said, some days it's 80-20, 70-30, 40-60, whatever it is. So now what I changed it to, which a lot of people don't like, is 100-100.
Mm-hmm.
We both need to be going 100-100, not 50-50. If you going 100 for me, I'm going 100 for you. We should be in a great space at all times. And even if we're doing that in our negative space, like some people have been putting out there, right? If a man or a woman could be angry, a woman could be angry in her feminine state.
Mm-hmm.
A man can be angry in his gentle state and all that stuff like that. If we
Mm-hmm.
did that, there would be, honestly, just speaking, there would be more relationships that would have been together. Because like I said, that's what usually happens. Once you start talking to each other crazy, it bubbles over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Into other things and whatnot. So again, like I said, if everybody, like I said, listening, learning your person and stuff like that. Yeah. So like I said, from my last situation, I learned that I do have to listen differently.
Mm-hmm.
Even in, like I said, even in that podcast, like I said, like we're all taught to how to express ourselves, but we're never taught to how to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, yeah.
We're taught to show this and express ourselves and be this and stand it. That, but nobody was taught how to listen, how to receive information,
Right.
how to, you know, because like the guy said, he said he has a thing where nobody cries alone and all that. So if anybody has a moment they got to cry, because like I said, it opens up some things that way or whatever.
Right.
It may not for different people, but I get where he was coming from with that. And like I said, again, like I said, it just goes back to being able to change. Is also now for me knowing, as I said, like I'm a problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
But now I know in other situations from previous situations, I gotta listen too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it ain't meant for me to give my resolution to whatever the other person's issue is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because most of the time it don't be an issue between y'all two, it'd be an issue of something else.
Right.
And it ain't really an issue of y'all. And it could, like I said, if it's between y'all and you're just listening no matter what, it's usually when they're dealing with other things outside of y'all relationship that may be an issue and stuff like that. And you're not being attentive to that or whatever. So, you know, like you said, man, 50-50, I say 100-100.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody's going 100, you going 100 for me, I'm going 100 for you, in the positive and in the negative. So like I said, when it goes bad, I'm still giving my 100% to make it right, to be the best in that particular situation, then that's what it is. So like I said, I do get that in the fact of, like they said, like, you know, the guy said he's looking for a woman that when she gets mad, she's still in her feminine stage.
Right.
She don't get mad, you know, Because once it gets there, then it becomes that back and forth. And the same with a man who is able to get upset but still be that nurturing. So those are things for myself that I acknowledge. Like even when I was in, you know, before this, even when I, you know, if I get upset, like I said, my thing is, like I said, I may say some things, but like I said, I ain't really got too much to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. Like, just leave me alone. You know what I mean? And that doesn't work well for some females.
Right. I think
You know
I'm on
it's
the
nothing
same
personal, but
yeah, I'm on the same wavelength with you as far as like I have no problem shutting down. Similar to you, if I say okay, chances are I'm 95% done with it. I'm not gonna continuously go back and forth with you on it.
Right.
I think we can all agree 100% of the females that are in our lives, if they don't like what they are hearing, you can easily see it in their face. How they react, I'm sure it'll differ, but you can see it. That's one of the tall telling signs of seeing like how that mood is going to shift in a female. It says it on their face. I think a lot of the times, I know for me, speaking of me, like I said, like people view me like you guys, you see me and we know each other outside of this and like outside. Like I'm mild mannered and I'm like to myself conservative and stuff like that. But again, when you're with your person, it's it's a different element because she knows you. She knows what buttons to push. I think a lot of the times certain conversations can, you know, transcend into like it can transition into something it didn't need to. A lot of times for me, I just want to see, I want to get it done and over with. I want to get Mike, you said it. I want to get to a resolution. I don't want to sit back and talk about it and this and that. Women, a lot of women, I don't want to say all, a lot of women are very, you know, emotional with these things. They need detail. They want to figure out the root cause of it. There are tons of follow-up questions. And I think for me, personally speaking, I don't do well with questions. Like if I'm the type you ask me too many questions, I'm gonna start getting upset. I just don't like that. But I know to be in a committed relationship, I have to learn to be better. I have to understand that, you know, I'm not the defendant. I'm not being placed on trial. It's just maybe she just wants to know something. But with me, I'm just not good at that, but I have to get better. And I think these are elements of my side where I understand and I identify that I can get better. A lot of guys, we have that. A lot of us, we have that problem. Like we just want to fix shit. We don't want to like sit there and like, okay, For them, that's what they want to do. They want to go through the, you know, the rounds, and they want to go through the rigors of that kind of stuff. As us, we're like, all right, just give it to me. I'll, you know, what I mean, just give me like 10, 15 minutes and I'll get it done. But you know, for us in totality, Mike, you're 100% right. And when I said 80, you know, some days she might have 80 and I only have 20, that 20, I have to give maximum effort. When it's, you know, 45, 55, both sides have to give maximum effort. It has to equal out to 100%. Because if you don't, you just fooling yourself. Don't do something half-assed if you know you're not in it.
Right.
There's a lot of people who are faking it. A lot of people who have more money than us, and you know they have cameras in their face all day long, so they can afford to do that. But us regular folks, the ones that don't take Instagram and social media that seriously, I think, you know, please understand, if you are doing something that some of these celebrities are doing, you will be left alone. You will be ghosted. You will, you know, there will be the harshest realities that you will far be able to understand. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, because like, just because you see it transcending on TV, remember TV and these TV shows, they have commercial breaks. Usually they know the themes and the plots by Friday. You don't. So you keep playing with people, you're going to find out. Jay, go ahead, take over.
I have something I want to add. I am a firm believer that one of the words you used before was compromise.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, some may use it a synonym of it as sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I tell people is, do not sacrifice or compromise on something that later on down the road is going to make you resent your partner.
Right.
What I mean by that, I'm going to give just a basic example. I'm not a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are, but I'm going to use that as an example because I know guys who are gamers.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a gamer and you meet a female and she tries to tell you that you need to grow up, you play the games too much, turn off the game, you shouldn't be a gamer, and you sell your PlayStation 5 and you sell your Nintendo Switch, and you stop playing games, and 9 months down the road, you find yourself a little depressed, a little frustrated more than normal, a tad bit angrier person than you've ever been in life, and you realize it's because something is missing.
Mhm.
That outlet, that thing you
Mhm.
love, and you gave it up. And the person that's filling the shoes of your PlayStation 5 is not filling the shoes of your PlayStation 5, because what they bring through is something completely different. And now you're starting to resent the relationship because you gave up who you are, because you thought that compromise was the way. Compromise is a very great element in a relationship,
Mhm.
but you do not give up something that you're going to resent your partner about in the future. And I just think that is never talked about enough, because we all compromise. Every relationship, listen, we've all compromised,
Mhm.
where everyone has done that. But what I've learned long ago, years ago, is you do not compromise or sacrifice what's going to make you resent the relationship down the line. You can make small changes. You can grow together and become a different union. As together you can become something different, going this way and then up, right? You
Mhm.
come together and then you grow together. But do not completely abandon who you are, because you're going to resent your relationship. Compromise and sacrifices are necessities, but they're not the end all be all. You do not want to give up who you are in totality, because then you're going to end up having a failed relationship. And that can carry some heavy weight moving into other relationships, because then now you don't know what to balance out, because you went full in and gave up who you was. And now the next relationship, compromise and sacrifice sounds like dirty words,
Mhm.
right? So now they sound like nothing but negativity. So, yes, you must compromise. You must sacrifice. Your partner must too.
Mhm.
Do not give up anything that is going to make you regret your relationship. So always weigh things out,
Mhm.
right? If something isn't working in your relationship and you know that you can change that for the better,
Mhm.
before you commit to changing that, you have to ask yourself, how important is that? One, to yourself,
Mhm.
and two, to the relationship.
Right.
And then you work on that together. But never, just to please your partner, abandon who you are if you're only going to end up hating your partner because of that one decision.
No, it's fact. It again, it's hard because until you're in it, it's hard from the outside looking in to say. And that's a very good example of the gamer. I mean, it could be literally anything. I'm sure
Yeah.
athletes go through it all the time. One of the more present things that we've seen is Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
He's a living example of it. His wife had been wanting him to retire for the last 9 to 10 years. He didn't. He chose his profession and was like, no, I'm not ready. Since then, obviously, we know what transpired. They're divorced now, blah, 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 or whatever the case may be. And she's like running around and doing whatever she's doing. But yeah, there's tons of examples. There's lawyers that get like that. There are, sometimes doctors, CEOs or whatever the case may be. People who are like in all fields get these kind of quandaries. Um, right now, let's talk about the don'ts. And I know this, hopefully we're intelligent enough to make it not a female bashing thing, even though, some of the verbiage might come across that way. But yeah, what are some don'ts? Because I know it's easy to glamorize the do's, like, oh, recognize what attracts us, what we respect, what we desire. Um, but yeah, it's been, there's tons of podcasts out there, and I've been listening to a lot and the little excerpts here and there. Like right now, certain things that are components of relationships. Mike, you touched on it. Submissive, dominant. Jay, you also talked about it as far as having conversation, showing where you stand. Why is it now being spun around to being a problem? Because I feel like now, not to say that more men are speaking up, you know, because we could always speak, we just, you know, kind of swept it under the rug and just kept on pushing. But now it's more like, all right, we put that stop sign up and it's like, all right, you're going to hold up because you're not going to talk to me that way. And we're going to talk about this. We can either fix it or I can leave. So I think now there are some do's that were do's, but now they're don'ts. I don't know if it's like because of public opinion. I don't know if it's because of how society views things as far as like the tide turning, and like the influx of, you know, city girls, hot girls, independent women. And, you know, we're no choir boys. We have like the guys that are we're just all over the place. For whatever reason, we're just all over the place. Mike, you want to talk about that?
So I say the difference with that right now is in generations. Our generation, the do's and don'ts are totally different than what there is now. You know what I'm saying? As far as just certain things that are more tolerated from the good or the bad. Just like I said, even with, you know, like I said, with the poly thing, I've been involved with that from when it was taboo to even talk about it to now it's everyday conversation. You know what I'm saying? So the don'ts still for me is just the respect, man. You know what I'm saying? Like just knowing who I am and knowing what to do. But like I said, a lot of them don'ts come from old school ways of, as I said, with the Sierra thing of like, you just wouldn't do that, be it in a relationship. Now you single, wear it. You know what I'm saying? Wear it, show out. You ain't got nobody to answer to. You know what I'm saying? But you being involved with somebody, that's just a don't. You know, the same thing for me. Like, you know, when you go out and you single, you out on a dance floor, you dancing. You in a relationship, you two-step, maybe hand twirl around. That's about it. You ain't letting them back it up on you, just out of respect for who you deal with, whether she's with you or she's not. Now, you know, depending on what the situation is, some dudes old school, hey, got their man holding them up, and then go home to wifey after that. That just ain't me. Because like I said, I don't need nobody, yo, ain't that so-and-so, man? Like, he out here bugging. Like, he going, like, I don't need that. And that's the same for mine, where, like I said, go out. Enjoy yourself. Go out with your ladies, this, that, and the third. Have a good time. Just remember, not just you, it's us right now. You know what I mean? Especially if y'all in the town or in the neighborhood, you know, especially like from back home, it was different. You might, you know, everybody know y'all from back home, but then the same thing when you live out of town and in these towns, depending on how big the area is, everybody know y'all too. So you don't want to be out there, you know, man, when dude is out, he's what? Oh, damn. It's on a song. Wale used it on a song, I think, but it's Mike Epps. When you see somebody with their lady, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Everybody good? This, that, the third, da 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 da. Nigga say, when you see without his lady, well, you know what I mean? Now you're a whole different person. Nah, that ain't me, man. I'm the same guy with or without.
Right.
So, but yeah, just them don'ts for me is again just a respect thing. You know what I mean? And like I said, and that'd be known from the jump with me, because like I said, you'll know kind of where I stand with certain things if we are trying to take it that way within the first 2 weeks of us having that having those type of conversations. And I don't have to be direct into, but you'll know. You know what I'm saying? You'll know where I stand on certain things.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I think the don'ts, I think, are like where I've kind of gotten burnt was taking pictures, and the pictures all of a sudden surface somewhere, and then my girl happens to see it, and she's just like reading me the riot act. Even though there's nothing going on or anything like that, it just somehow turns into that. So I think it's one of those situations where like something so simple can get drawn out, and you know, it turns into a thing, right? It didn't
The
need to.
Sierra Russell thing.
Right. And you know, even so, it's like, all right, you took a picture, I'm standing near someone of the opposite sex, and yeah, here comes the argument loading. But you know, anything, you know, what I'm noticing and learning is that, like, not even in my own, but like in others, even whether it's the Sierra and anybody, or even, you know, even the Andrew Wiggins situation, like even,
Right.
you know, people care to talk about that, which is totally fucked up in all kinds of ways. And these people have money. So for me, that doesn't even have, you know, even the percentage of money that these people have. You think I'm really going to step out the door and do all this extra stuff? Why? I'm not. I just, I can't. I think a lot of it, you know, again, outside influences. Everyone has an opinion, but you both have to be strong and stand on your square and understand that, all right, it's about us. Because if you're going to let X, Y, and Z tell you about what this person did or what they think this person is into, then you value that. You're saying you value their standpoint more than mine, and that makes it hard because, again, Mike, you said it. Where's the respect value? Where's the level of respect there? You know, but you know, it's a learning process. It's a learning curve. You're always going to continuously learn, and I think like this narrative that you cannot learn from each other is BS, because no one's going to know their partner 100%. Jay, I'm sure you're still learning your wife.
Yep.
You know, I'm sure there's still tendencies that really kind of drive you wild, and you're like, all right, let me take a step back and like press it on pause. But you know, it's hard because there's a lot of don'ts that people don't discuss. You know, we touched on it as far as the submissive and dominant stuff, which is a hot topic all over the place because, you know, the word submissive has taken the connotation of like, you know, like you're trying to make the woman your slave, which is clear. Like, I don't know if people really understand English or understand like comprehension. But again, all those things are is left for interpretation between you and your partner. So
That's
like, I think a lot of the times where like the backlash and outside noise for that stuff, I'm just like, why are you so, what are you so fired up about? Like, are you invested into that relationship? Are you friends with them? No. So why are you concerned about what they deem as submissive or what they deem as dominant? If you're not there, or you're not, you know, behind closed doors and know the inner workings of it, that's not your problem.
And
That is
look,
your problem.
now that goes hand in hand with, like I said, when people talk about the celebrity stuff.
Mhm.
Oh, you worried about this and you worried about that, this, that, and third. Again, there are some people who are worried about it. Who
Oh
are
no,
really
I'm not, and I'm not taking away from that. You're allowed your opinion. You're allowed
Yeah.
your opinion, but I'm saying the people who get like, they really dive in and they're like losing
No,
sleep over. I'm like,
and that's what I be trying to say. Like when people be commenting certain things and whatnot, I'd be like, again, this is just the way I feel about it. It ain't nothing with me, because the next response that most people give that I hate, which is the goofiest thing I feel like people say, is that those are rich people problems. You shouldn't be worried about that. Or they say that to anybody. Those are select, like that ain't, we just talking about a topic, man. Like, what are you talking about? That's why I put the thing up like so when people talk about politics, I should put like, those are politicians' problems. You shouldn't be worried about that. Like,
facts.
that's how stupid that sounds. Where that's when I know people just want to be in there, they just want to be right. They just want to have something to stand on instead of just hearing what was said and letting it go. And that's how I get so many people get personal with their answers back. That's crazy. Like I get inboxes, voice messages, all these different type of things. I got a certain group of females that I got on my timeline that I know when I put things up, they're going to be there to have their 2 cents put in there and stuff like that. And I'd be reading it and I'd be like, man, like I'd be wanting to say something extra, but I don't, just out of respect and stuff like that. But it'd be like, yo, y'all wilding. Like y'all really wilding. So again, just to, like I said, to piggyback off of that, like you said, it's the respect thing. It's now as you learn certain things don't need to respond the way it may have needed before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the same thing, like you said, Jay, knowing who you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so here's the last part for me on this. Like the Kim Kardashian thing with the Ice Spice. A lot of people said, well, they know what type of woman she is and he should expect that and all that stuff like that. That's like I said, you could use it as a negative or a positive. And I said, now you're using it as a cop-out because she's this type of woman or she did these type of things with her life that he should just be, well, that's just what it is. Nah, it shouldn't. He's a father that stated certain things and concerns that he had in regards to his daughter with being on TikTok. And just like I said, being involved with the Ice Spice thing and all that, not to knock her, I like her. But like I said, they have no real connection with each other. Those are two totally different age groups and all of that. What she's doing on the TikTok, like, what attention is that bringing her? And that's what I feel like he's trying to say. Like, I don't want my daughter to have all this. She already got enough attention of being Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's child. You know what I'm saying? All the other stuff I don't want to bring to her and start getting her involved with or start having her life, because now she might want to start doing videos like Ice Spice did with her on her TikTok because of the response or the reviews that she got from that. Instead of just being a young girl just chilling, you know what I'm saying, with a target already on her back for so many other reasons of the life that your mother and your father lives. So you already got a target on their back for their lives, let alone possibly putting them in situations like that. So that's what I say. Like, again, and no knock on women, because this is all we can talk about as far as we're all guys who only deal with women. So that's the next thing that killed me, when women be like, oh, but why not this? I'd be like, bro, I don't deal with guys, man. I don't know. I can't explain that. I can't explain how that works over there. I can't say how the dude do this and it's like, oh, I can keep going and put it. So just you know, like, again, it just goes back to, like I said, like, they don't, you know, in certain situations, they don't be understanding us. Not the ones who I consider the good ones.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or like the guys who do stand on certain principles and stuff like that and whatnot. That's like, yo, this doesn't move me to make me do this. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's different for some women because, like I said, most of the time I deal with women, they always coming off a story they was dealing with a lame. And who knows, my ex might be telling a story about me being a lame, whatever it is. But they always come to you like it never was. It was a good situation. We just went our separate ways.
Right.
Now maybe that could be them manipulating something to play the sob story. To be like, you know what, I gotta make up for what you do. Then you, like I said, put your cape on and just fly around wherever she wants you to go after that. But yeah, man, like I said, end of the day, respect, being respectful, giving respect. You know, I'm like I said, and like I said, just like you said, just being who you are. You know what I mean? That's what I said. You will know who I am within the first 2 weeks of, if we're talking consistently, because you know how that goes. You talk to somebody for a second, the next thing you know, it's kind of like every day y'all talking. And like I said, it just goes into, well, we speak every day. We sex it and all that. You know, I'm giving you that respect just out of nowhere. You giving me that respect out of nowhere. We're going out. You know what I'm saying? But again, yeah, man, until something is said, don't overplay your part. That's the one thing. Like one of my favorite lines from Jay, and I used to say this all the time. What he said? All I know, he said, "Love Jay with your mind, girl, and not your heart." Like, I'm just keeping it a band sometimes, and I keep it 100 with certain joints. Like, yo, like, I'm just chilling right now. We can just enjoy each other's company, but when we're not in each other's presence, you do what you do, I do what I do. But then I've also had the ones where, like I said, we established something early, like, yo, we don't really want each other involved with other people or whatever it is. And, you know, we lock it into each other. And if I decide that and she decides that, that's what we doing. If it's lopsided, where it's me and it's not her, cool. You know what I'm saying? If her, not me, cool. Now after that, Are we going to continue to deal with each other after that? If we choose not to, I respect that as well. If we choose to, then we both understand that one person is at a different place than the other.
Right. Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think one of the don'ts is don't seek the attention of anybody that is outside of your home.
Facts.
And so I'll go back to, I remember being in high school, seeing the transformation of friends of mine in high school, females, who because the old heads used to come through, and in hindsight, looking back, it's some real creep shit, but you don't really know it then. You're 16 and all that, and you see the 25-year-old dude pulling up in the Benz, the neighborhood drug dealer. He's trying to bag something, and what he really was doing was some real pedo grooming shit. But I didn't really, you don't know that when you're a kid, and you're just like, wow. And then I see the transformation in some of the girls my age at that time, and how they started to dress different, how they started to yearn for that type of attention, because they saw the few that were getting that attention became real popular, right?
Yeah, they want to be inclusive.
Oh yeah, they want to be down with the get down, right? But so now decades later, social media gives that same high of attention. And what happens is, as soon as she dressed different, as soon as she posed different, the DMs are flooded. You got the dirt bags coming in there, but then you got the Captain Save 'ems, right? So it's a little different. Back then in high school, ain't nobody was saving you from the 25-year-old gun-toting drug dealer. No 16-year-old was stepping up to do like, leave homegirl alone. You too old for that. Ain't nobody was doing that, right? So it just got that attention. Now you get so much attention from so many different types of dudes. You got the Captain Save 'ems. You got some good dudes. You got some dirtbag. The DMs are flooded. The attention is there. And I'm going to piggyback what Mike was saying about with Kanye and Kim. I wholeheartedly believe that you raise your daughters to never value the attention of another man, period. That's how you do it. You make sure that they understand that value has no worth unless it's the one person you're dealing with.
Right.
None of that stuff really is ever going to get you anywhere safe. Yeah. It'll get you somewhere. It ain't going to get you anywhere safe. And that's what needs to be really, when you're in a relationship, your partner needs to understand, it's human. It's human to feel good if somebody recognizes something dope. Like you got a fresh pair of kicks and you walking by, even if another dude be like, yo, those joints is fire.
Right.
A little smile crack from your face, no matter how hardened you are. You're like, yeah, all right, good looking out. And you can keep it moving. And it's simplicities like that can be taken the wrong way, right? So women more so than men get caught up in that whirlwind. And like Mike said, I want to readdress, we're talking about women because we ain't attracted to dudes. So we only can speak what we know on a personal level. And from what I have, my many decades of observation is women get caught up in that whirlwind of, oh, he's acknowledging me and giving me the attention more so than men say about women to them. So if you're in a relationship, don't have no secret lives. You don't need a secret life. You don't need to put yourself, like I remember, and this is not really a big deal because it's one of those rare things about a celebrity couple that I remembered, and it's only because it was sports, and it just seemed to flood even cross the sport wave where Steph Curry's wife, I don't know her name, I forgot, but she had said something about that she still feels good getting the attention of other men and some old shenanigans. I remember that. What was that, like a year or two ago, maybe longer? It just feels like a year or two ago. And and I remember thinking to myself, man, we signing papers. You say some shit like that. Because like I don't understand that. Like I can't fathom that being accepted. I don't seek that. Right. Because I know that the attention that matters is one, if I'm working for somebody, the attention that I need is for the boss to recognize the work I'm putting in. That's the attention I need. I need the attention of my children to understand that I am the parent. I'm imposing these laws and I'm
Mhm.
loving you in the safest way possible. That's the attention I need. And from my wife, all the attention I get from her, that's important. All
Mhm.
that other, he make me feel attractive and it just feels good. Nah, I don't need that. And if you're in a committed relationship, you should never seek that. That's one of
Right.
my don'ts. You should never seek outside attention.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's okay. We lost Mike, but I'm sure he'll log in at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to piggyback off what you said, the operative word is attention. It's a heck of a drug, right? And it, and yeah, modern day, modern time, there are guys that seek it. Might not be us because we are a different caliber type of men. But it's one of those situations where it's it's hard because you get into certain instances where like you're so mad and enraged, and there's certain things that push you to the brink, but there's also temptation, right? So you can be tempted, but like we always discuss, there's tons of opportunities, there's tons of
Right.
temptation out there, but you ultimately make the choice, whether it's the right choice or the wrong choice. That is the power that you have. That's the dynamic that is posed in front of you. I think a lot of the times, because we are all men and we are discussing something from our standpoint, our point of view, when it comes to like women, I think even when you talk to them, and it doesn't ever end. They need words of affirmation, they need assurance, they need they need love, they need touch, and the emotional tag that comes with it. Like they feel that. I think it's one of those things for us, like, and I don't know, because it's almost ingrained into every man. Like when we just want our time, we just like walk off. Like whatever it is, you go take a walk, or you're just like, I don't want to deal with this right now, or you just shut down. And it's not to say that you don't respect your partner, but I think it's one of those things where like you're trying to refocus, you're trying to reel it back in, because things somehow or another got just drawn out to a point where you can't take it. But maybe you just have a face where you're fully composed and you don't want to come out of character. And I think sometimes that gets misconstrued a lot, where like that they take it as disrespect. They feel that you're shutting them out. Um, they don't really understand how to receive it. They feel as if they've done something wrong. And, that's far from the case. And for me, it takes a lot. Like I can take a lot, but also like, I'm a firm believer. If you push me to the brink, my first thing to tell you is don't play with me. Because if you're playing with me, then you're ready to take it to that level. And I'm not sure you want to go to that level. But again, with your partner, listen, I get it. There's always going to be hardships, but it's one of those things. She's your person, and there's a level of transparency that has to be there, whether it's good or bad. Just say it. One thing I've noticed: women can handle shit. If you say it to them, as harsh as it may come out, or as harsh as we as men, as like ruthless and crazy, and how we build it up, they can take it. But allow them that grace, allow them to understand your position, because it ain't easy. Like we're good guys, but it's not easy to deal with a dude. It's not easy. It is really not easy. Just like we can say thousands upon thousands of things about how it's not easy to deal with females and stuff like that. I know I'm not easy to deal with. I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I know I'm not easy to deal with. So like I'm appreciative each time my girl has to, if we get into it or whatever, we're able to reel it back in. We're able to talk. And it makes it fortunate, and for me that's good enough. For me, I'm not someone who demands a lot. Like I'm not a needy person, but like all I want in return is all I ask is you respect me, and that's what's going to keep the wheels rotating. Because if you show me, again, you show me and that respect, I'll do anything for you. And I've gone on record and told her that, and I would like to think her friends and her peoples know that, like, she's good. She's good on all fronts. But, you know, you get into certain conversations like the don'ts, like you know, the guy friends, as we get older, before I used to not care, honestly. I was like, hey, go hang out with your guy friends and stuff. But I'm like, I don't know. Like, this dude really your friend? Or he just really he I don't know. Like, you're a little too comfortable. I don't know. Really your friend? But you know, you ask some questions like that, then it's like, oh, you don't trust me. I didn't say I didn't trust you. I said, is this dude, in my mind, I'm like, is this the right intentions going on here? That's all. I'm not interested in all the other extracurricular activities, because if it goes that way, trust me, I'll make it my business so he's not your friend anymore. But yeah, it's that dynamic of don'ts. We can stretch it and talk about it hours upon hours, but like, you don't want to make it into a negative tag. The whole thing is to improve and grow. And I think a lot of times conversations get convoluted because there's no comprehension. It's easy to say, oh, I'm going to communicate. We have to communicate. We have to do this. You know how many times it's like someone saying, I'm sorry. Do you know what's inside somebody saying, I'm sorry? They can say, I'm sorry all the time. Doesn't mean anything. Does not mean anything, because you don't know to what level I'm sorry is in there. Are they sorry they got caught? Are they sorry that, you know, they see you crying? Are they sorry that, whatever the case may be, how detrimental things got or how toxic things got? Most of the time you'll never know. You're just saying you want to hear an apology, but the apology is not going to replace the action or whatever the case may be. It's a rough pill to swallow. My God.
So I'm gonna close with this. You said something in regards to like, just the dating stuff and whatnot. So one thing I say is that I learned is that how like they make fun of us as minorities. When you go to work, you have your work voice, you have your work demeanor and stuff like that or whatever. And again, like I said, I got this from out of that podcast, is that moving forward, I'll have my relationship demeanor. You know what I'm saying? Like that automatic go-to when I'm in these particular situations. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that I'm not overstepping my boundaries as far as the way I may come back at whoever it is at that particular time. Because like I said, my response, whether it be or here, it still kind of hits the same way. You know what I'm saying? I could be kind of animated about my response, or I could be calm about it, but it still hits the same accord or nerve when I say it. So that's just one thing that that will be a goal of mine moving forward. But again, also, like I said, with the going out thing, like I said, if I'm able, like I said, Clement, if you're able to be like that, then she should be able to be that way in your thing. And like I said, for us men, we would choose not to have female friends like that because it just, but they may feel like it's okay to have that male friend that's like that, and so on and so forth. And like I said, that's just some things that we just, men are from Venus, women from Mars type situation and whatnot. And like I said, we know just like they know when the female is trying to be a little more than what she claims to be. You know what I'm saying? So again, that goes back to you as a person saying, you know what, let me just respect, because that's why I tell people, man, you don't never know nothing until you work into the work, in corporate or a workplace where you work with women who are engaged or in relationships and stuff like that. And, that work husband thing is true for some. Like, that is really true. The work wife situation is true in regards to all of that. So again, hey, my closing statements, Best of luck, man.
Jay, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's crazy out here in these streets, man. Best of luck. Like they say, you found somebody, keep her, but it definitely ain't cheaper to keep her. I tell you that, though. It ain't cheaper to keep her either. So, best of luck to anybody. But the one thing you do got to remember is, like I said, man, at the end of the day, there's only a certain amount of people out here for you. There's a million people, out here. If it don't work, move on and get what you get. But don't sit know something that you don't need to be in and be stressing yourself out, man.
Yeah. Jay?
Yeah. So my closing statement is don't date when you're desperate. Don't date when you're lonely. If you need a fix in the physicality department, be very honest about that. Listen, people be surprised. Listen, I had a great run in the MySpace era and I'm keeping it real. And none of these are secrets. My wife knows. She was my friend back then. Anybody who knows me that's going to watch this, it's going to be like, oh shit, I remember that era. This thing was crazy. Listen, the MySpace era, Tag, Black Planet, Ashley Madison. I was in terror on all those sites. And
Ashley Madison, I never heard of that.
Oh, well, you got to Google that. Ashley Madison.
Never heard of that.
That was the first site that worked in anonymity, and you met up just to smash. That was it. And
that was the original Tinder.
Yes, long before that was the first one, and I was a terror. But that's where I learned the most that there were people that wanted just that too. And I didn't have to lie. I didn't have to game them. I didn't have to go on 45 dates. I didn't have to spend, steak and shrimp. And I didn't have to do none of that. We both wanted what we wanted. And we both were hungry. And we both wanted to end the night the way we ended the night. And I learned that, like Mike said, there's like 7 billion people. There's mad people. There's someone that wants what you want. You ain't got to lie, manipulate. Just don't date when you're desperate. You need a fix. Seek someone that needs a fix too, but don't date when you're desperate because you're gonna find yourself in a pit of despair. And like Mike said, best of luck because it's real in the field. And I want everyone to find their happy for sure.
Yeah, no, that's definitely dope stuff. For me, a closing statement for me is all we have is time, transparency, hopeful direction. And being able to understand each other's, tolerance for certain stuff. Lord knows I need to grow up in certain aspects. Like I'm not perfect. I don't think anybody's perfect, but me speaking for myself, I know there's a lot that could be, I have to cut some of the fat off. Let's just say that. I think when you get into the relationship, you have to understand your partner, or at least as best to your abilities. We stressed it enough. You're always going to be learning. There's always going to be that state of learning, adjusting, adapting, compromise, all those good words. Those are all buzzwords. But until you're in it, it ain't easy. It's really not easy. Some people are built for it. Some people are faking it. Some people are just, you're probably just a stepping stone to the next thing. You have no idea. What I do notice and what I'm what I'm disliking, there are, tons and tons of podcasts and, pseudo experts out there trying to tell you what your relationship should be, what the roles should be. Let me explain something to you. If you're with somebody right now and you didn't hear any of those podcasts, don't start listening to them. You know why? Because the second you start integrating what somebody else's opinion or standards are to your own, that's where the problems will start to come. And I think the space that we're in, people have to understand, just because you see it work for someone else's relationship, that might not work for you. I think it's very easy to see something glamorized, but just because it's glamorized, you don't know what it took for them to do it. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors in anybody's house. Similar, they don't know what works for you. So that's what makes it separate. That's what makes it unique between you and your respective partner. I think a lot of times people need to understand no one as an individual or as a union or whatever the case may be will understand what you have to go through. They don't put your pants on. They don't lace up your shoes. Until someone does that and sees what you have to do 24/7, they have no right to influence you or tell you what you should and what you should not be doing. Do what works for you, because at the end of the day, she might say red and you might say black, but guess what? It works for you too. And if people if you let outside influence have that much traffic in what you guys are doing, then what the hell are you together for? And it doesn't have to be that. Everyone is going to always have an opinion. Us three right here collectively have played sports. If we weren't successful at it or anything like that, we got to the gym, we practice. It's the same cliche that works in relationships. You don't give up. Just because things become hard, you're not supposed to give up. I know it's easy for people to say, I quit, I'm done, it's a wrap, blah, blah, blah. But there's no level of improvement because you have no basis to go off on. We all want the same things, but one thing you have to understand is go practice, talk to your partner, because you're not dating me, you're dating your partner, the person that sits across from you, the person that sleeps with you, the person that walks down the street with you. That's what it is for that. But listen, we joke about it, that good luck and stuff like that. It's hard. It's hard. There ain't nothing easy. But if you built for it, don't give up. So that wraps up episode 15 for Straight to It. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like always, please like, share, subscribe. The numbers will only help us out. We're not asking for your firstborn. We're not asking for plasma. We're asking you to press a button. Press the subscribe button. It helps. So that is it. That's Jason. That's Mike. I'm Clem Boogie, and we'll see you next time. Straight to It.